Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is Joelle Simone Anthony, the Grave Woman. And if this is your first time here, I'm going to go ahead and ask that you hit the subscription button right below and also hit the notifications bell so you can be told whenever I upload new content. Today I am doing more funeral service Q&A, and I have 5 questions received either through email or in the comment section. If you'd like to submit a question, leave it below. The first question comes from Queen of Rockers Rock, and the question reads, I'm a little bit confused about money and identification and cell phones. Don't you just receive a naked body, or do you receive a fully clothed body? Why don't the police or ambulance people go through their possessions and put them in a bag? So to answer your question, Queen of Rockers Rock, we in most cases do not receive naked bodies. Why police and ambulatory professionals don't go through the deceased belongings could be the result of a range of things. Either a lot of cases, if there's no foul play or if there's no investigation being done when someone passes away, a lot of times the police just remove the deceased and turn them over to the medical examiner's office or to the funeral home directly. Also, many times when someone dies in the care of medical professionals, they're just trying to identify that individual, get in contact with their family, and if, again, there isn't an investigation or a suspicion of foul play, they will not go through the deceased belongings piece by piece. A lot of times they'll inventory them and fill out an inventory sheet, which we receive, and also go through the belongings as well. So I hope that answers your question. Many times people come into the funeral home as they were living, because as we know, death is unexpected and we never know when it's going to happen. Let's say Susan is driving home from work and is in an automobile accident. If Susan isn't taken to the medical examiner's office, she's going to be received in the clothes that she was wearing in her accident. And that would be the job of the funeral service professionals, to not only take possession of her body, but also to inventory her personal belongings and return them to her next of kin or person making her arrangements. Thank you so much for your question. The next question that we received today comes from Sunny Day, and the question reads, is it true that organs are removed and put in a bag inside the casket to be buried with the deceased? I was told this by someone who was a helper at a funeral home. To answer your question, Sunny, yes, the organs of the deceased, if they have been fully autopsied, are put into a bag and are either inserted into the rib cage or they're put at the foot of the casket. A lot of times if they're put at the foot of the casket, they would have been treated with cavity fluid and a powder form of formaldehyde and placed inside of a plastic bag that is leak proof, and then put inside of a satin bag in case anyone actually opens the bottom part of the casket, and that gives a more professional and less traumatic memory picture for the family of the deceased. So yes, organs are put in a leak proof plastic bag, either in the rib cage or the foot of the casket, only if the deceased has been fully autopsied. Funeral service professionals do not do any type of organ removal. Organ removal is done by the medical examiner's office and the medical examiner. Sometimes if someone is an organ donor, they will, professionals that do that type of work will come into the funeral home to do that, or that will be done at the hospital. But it is not our job to remove any organs, so this is not the standard practice for your average person who's passed away and has not gone through the care of the medical examiner's office. Thank you so much for your question.
Still wrong.
Our next question comes from Britta Alston, and it reads, do you believe that consciousness survives the bodily death? Why or why not? Britta, this is a really good question, and I honestly have had to sit on this since receiving your question. I think you commented on my video about cryonics and cellular suspension, but I honestly don't know. I think that we all would like to fancy ourselves with believing that we have an understanding of what happens to our consciousness and to our spirit or soul or non-physical being when we pass away. But to be 100% honest, I don't know, and I don't know whether I would like to believe or think that my consciousness remains here outside of my body. That's a pretty weird thought for my consciousness just to be floating around. Where and why? So to answer your question, I honestly don't know. What do you think? Thank you for your question.